The next time you decide to go on a little moonlight cruise, a word of warning. Make sure it's not on a boat shared by a bunch of dodgy ex-soldiers with a lot of emotional baggage. You know, it makes sense. Hi guys, welcome to another video. Hope you're all keeping well. Now, in this video, I'd just like to talk about a Blu-ray I watched last night, which I bought online, and that movie is called Moon and Scorpio. Now, yeah, as I say, I watched this last night. It's, as you can see, it's part of the 88 films slasher collection, and I was quite disappointed with it, actually. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a bad movie, but then again, it wasn't a great movie. So if you're not familiar with Moon and Scorpio, I'll just read you the blurb at the back of this, back of this edition, just to give you an idea. Yeah, so in a Los Angeles marina, three buddies who fought together in Vietnam, Alan, played by John Philip Law, Bert, played by William Smith, and Mark Lewis, played by Louis Van Bergen, and their wives set sail on a cruise, their first reunion since the war. Now, all three men are haunted by nightmares of a bloody wartime massacre they took part in, killing everyone in sight, men, women, children. The tension between the men is thick enough to cut with a knife. Now, before long, anxiety turns to bone-chilling horror as first one, then another passenger on the cruise is mysteriously and gruesomely murdered. Adrift on the open sea, with no help in sight, the terrified survivors must fight for survival against an unseen, bloodthirsty killer who has turned their worst nightmares into deadly reality. So yeah, guys, yeah, I watched this last night, and I didn't think it was a very good movie at all. I mean, it was okay in parts and that, but yeah, Britt Ekland is the main protagonist in this and that. She's the wife of one of the guys on the boat and that, yeah. But yeah, what I especially didn't like about it, I didn't like the constant flashbacks to Vietnam. I mean, all three of the guys, served in Vietnam. They're all ex-army buddies, but this particular guy who's married to Britt Ekland, they kept going backwards and forwards and that, and at the best of times, I'm not really a great fan of flashbacks and that, because I think flashbacks, they tend to jar a movie and that, but in this movie, guys, was in the first half of the movie, there's far too many flashbacks to Vietnam, and the actual setting of Vietnam, it looked pretty cheap and that, and the soldiers' garb as well. I mean, it looked as if it just been put together and that, yeah, it didn't really look really like, authentically military and that, yeah. But yeah, a very, very poor plot, this, guys. Yeah, it was made in 1987, and yeah, it's one of Britt Ekland's most disappointing movies, Moon and Scorpio. And I didn't like the one of the women on the yacht as well. She kept going into this sort of like monologue about when the moon's in Scorpio, and she kept saying it over and over again. And in the end, I just thought, bloody belt up, will you? You're getting a bit of a pain, moon and Scorpio, moon and Scorpio. And she has that far away look in her eyes and that, as if she's trying to sort of like warn them in a roundabout way and that, yeah. And I didn't think the killings were very sort of like very unique in this side and that, I mean, like, I don't want to go into so much about the method of killing, but I think that the killings were very poorly done in that, yeah. What I did like about it, I like the scenery, when the boat's like on the open sea and that, and they're on their journey and that, the cruise and that. Some lovely scenery, guys, and the picture quality in this is absolutely pristine. I mean, it really is, and you've got some special features there on the back, guys, if you want to freeze your cameras just to take those in there. There's Britt Ekland there. Yeah, as I say, yeah, it was okay, but I wouldn't really rave over it and that, yeah. I say it's made in 1987, and even the actors as well, I mean, they didn't really stand out. I mean, I couldn't really, even Britt Ekland's character, I couldn't really invest in her and that, because Robert Quarry's in this as well, who played Count Yorga, in the early 70s. He plays the sort of like the the doctor in the mental asylum in which Britt Eklund has been incarcerated, because the movie opens where she's on the boat cowering and trembling, and as one of the guys who boards the boat approaches her, she kills him with a harpoon and that, you know, yeah, and she's trembling and she looks as she's really gone off her head and that, you know, yeah, and you start to wonder, well, is she really behind the killings and that, yeah. But again, I don't want to give too much away in case you haven't seen this movie, but I didn't, you know, it was a disappointment. I don't think I'll be watching it again. Yeah, Moon and Scorpio, yeah. And it took me a while to get this as well, because none of the shops in my area in Liverpool had it, you know, so in the end they had to send off. I had to send off online for it and that, you know, yeah. But yes, I say, like, you know, it could have been better. Like, I think it was a wasted opportunity. Yeah, yeah. And I hated those flashback scenes in that Vietnam. You know, I mean, I'm not really a great lover of Vietnam movies anyway. You know, I mean, I can watch World War II and even World War One and the Napoleonic Wars, but there's something about Vietnam movies what bore me. I don't know what it is, but they just bore me. You know, Vietnam movies, and also all the more boring than this, guys. The flashbacks and that, you know. You know, there was a couple of plot holes in it as well, which you might spot yourself, you know, if you get round to watching the movie. But I can't really, recommend it as strongly as I've recommended other similarly, you know, horror stories set on the open sea. You know, but I say Moon and Scorpio, yeah, it was a real disappointment. Yeah, yeah. But it was okay. It wasn't hot. It wasn't an atrocious movie. But then again, it wasn't a great movie. And Britt Eklund, you know, she's a little bit older than this and that, but she looked, you know, she still looked, you know, quite attractive and that, you know, and that. But a character, you know, didn't really have much depth to it and that, you know, as the other characters as well and that, you know. But as I say, I did like the scenery and that, you know, where they were on, you know, on the cruise and that, you know. But as regards giving it marks at 10 out of 10, I think I'd give it about maybe 5 out of 10. Yeah. So there you go, guys. That's my review of Moon and Scorpio, made in 1987, starring Britt Eklund. Yeah, it's part of the 88 Slasher Classics collection. Yeah, I mean, that's just my opinion. Yous might like it. I don't know. You know, so if you want to check it out for yourself, guys, there you go. Moon and Scorpio. Yeah, yeah. Okay, guys, if you've seen this film, what did you think about it? Leave your comments down below. Yeah, but yeah, as I say, getting back to what I hated about it, those bloody flashbacks, you know, and then jarring back and forth where the doctor, Robert Quarry's interviewing Britt Eklund in a surgery and that, you know, yeah. And yeah, it was quite slow in parts. Now, it was only the final parts of the movie where it really got underway, you know, really started to get a little bit gripping and that, you know, yeah. But there you go, that's my opinion of Moon and Scorpio, yeah. Okay, guys, if you enjoyed this video, please feel free to share, subscribe, comment, and all going well. I shall see you all in the next video. Stay safe.